now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, go ahead, leave us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. Now look, man, before we get started, got to give a special shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Go ahead, get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. This code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. And I'm not sure about you, but I'm about to go ahead and create me an account and just shoot to a game one of these times soon. So you should do that. Speaking of games, though, let's bring that focus in on one of the games that's happening as we speak. This is a great series that we're all looking into. The Indiana Pacers versus the Boston Celtics, man. Look, I'm going with the underdogs. And I'm going to explain why in just a second, but the Pacers are going to win this series in 7. I know what the Celtics are doing. I know the Celtics have a lot of hype, but you can't let that get to you, okay? You can't let that get to you. Nobody wants to see the Pacers in the finals, which is true. A lot of people were talking about, it's going to be a boring finals if the Pacers go. Well, I'm ready for it to be a boring finals because I think the Pacers are going to win just because they got the bench support, they got the size advantage, and they play better basketball, and they've been playing better basketball all postseason than what we've been seeing from the Boston Celtics. So I'm siding with the Pacers to win. And it's something about the Celtics. Yeah, they got the big names. They got the hype. They got the star players. They got the stardom and all of that stuff right now. But it's just really something about them that's giving fraudulent, bro. The Celtics have been looking real fraudulent lately. They don't play like a championship team when I'm watching them play. They just so happen to be the team with all the star power. The only team with star power left in the damn Eastern Conference, for real. We seen the Celtics or the Bucks, they had a lot of star power, but they had some injuries go down. Like, they're the only team left, and you have a valid reason to believe that the Celtics are going to, end up sweeping the Pacers or whatever the case may be. Like, you got good reason to believe they might really smack up the Pacers. But since the playoffs started, Celtics, they look like a completely different team. And this is not in a good way, bro. Like, not in a good way at all. In the regular season, they were dominant. They were smacking teams left and right. They were playing consistent. But now we have not seen that at all from the stars on this team. And even just as a unit, we have not seen that. Of the 12 games they played this postseason, you can count on one hand how many flawless games you've seen from the Boston Celtics. It's not many of them. Jason Tatum, he's only shot over 50% once this entire postseason. Jaylen Brown, he's been shaky back and forth, kind of giving you buckets and then he'll fall back. He's been shaky all playoffs as well. They've really been getting carried by Derek White and Jrue Holiday, Al Horford. This Celtics team, they be getting carried by their role guys. If it wasn't for Derek White, Jrue Holiday, and Al Horford being as consistent as they've been these past few series that they played in the playoffs, the Celtics already would have been in trouble. They wouldn't have made it this far. And they didn't win game 1 because they were just a better team against the Pacers. That wasn't the case. The Pacers literally gave that game away. They sold and they ended up losing, but they had full control over the Boston Celtics all game in that game 1. Similar to the Knicks had the momentum and they had the crowd, but the Pacers had control of how the game was played. They played at the Pacers' pace. And in game 1, I seen that they played at the Pacers' pace. In game 2, with the Celtics, it's a little bit different. We still see the Pacers playing foul. They turning the ball over. They're committing these loose turnovers. They making these silly fouls. All of these stuff like that it's gonna come back to haunt them, but ultimately, I think they'll clean it up because they cleaned it up in the previous series against the Knicks. And I think they'll clean it up again against the Celtics. And Celtics ain't been playing dominant where it's just a type of play where you have to respect it. No, you ain't been seeing that from the Celtics. And I think ultimately they're going to need Porzingis back because there's a size advantage that the Pacers have here. Siakam and Turner, like, man, that's a problem for the Celtics. And I think above all, before it gets too late, Celtics really gonna need Porzingis back. I know it was rumored he may come back by game 4, which would be super helpful for them. But if he's not back by game 4, I think that's when we'll really see this series turn, man. But ultimately, I'm going with the Pacers to win this series in 7. I know it's odd. I know y'all don't want to side with me, but I'm going to tell you this, bro. They play good basketball. Pacers play good basketball, man. Outside of the times where they're sloppy and they're just committing these whack turnovers and just playing bad on the stretches or the small runs in the game where they're playing bad, they play good basketball, man. Everybody touches the ball. It's no selfishness. Like, they're making the right passes. They play defense. They grab boards. Like, they play good basketball, man. So I'm siding with the Indiana Pacers to win this in 7 here. All right, let's go ahead. Jump into a quick take that we have. And a side note, I gotta bring it down because completely different topic here. And a side note, man. We all know Bronny James, right? Obviously, the son of LeBron James. Bronny James, he's going to the league. That's no secret. And he's been doing the combine stuff and running through the draft and all of that stuff, which looks good. He's been playing good in the draft combine and all of that stuff from what we've seen. But he's been catching a lot of hell about only going to the league because he's LeBron's son. And while we know that is the actual truth, we know that's facts. I mean, clearly he's going to the league because he's LeBron's son. But you got to give the guy a chance, man. And I think he's going to have a lot more success than what people are anticipating just because he does have some sort of game on him. It's not like he's completely trash. If you look at his stats at USC, they're going to tell you, oh, he was completely trash. He only averaged 5 points. He didn't make anything happen. That's what the stats are going to tell you. But the eye test, which I always prefer over any number that a person can put in front of me, you will see that Bronny has some game. And honestly, it holds a lot of weight that his dad is LeBron James, one of the guys with the best IQs in all of basketball to ever touch a basketball. So if this guy comes in the league and he doesn't have an understanding of the game, when your dad has the best IQ ever, that's going to be disappointing. I doubt that he doesn't have a good understanding of the game. Do I see him coming into the league and making an immediate impact for a team, being a solid role guy right away? No, not necessarily. But in a draft class where there's not a lot of elite talent, Bronny has a damn good chance to make something of himself in this draft class. Because you literally cannot name 5 other point guards in this draft that are elite, that are deemed elite. And honestly, bro, to hell with 5 point guards. You can't even name 5 players in this draft that are deemed elite players and hitter or great prospects to draft on your team. Game changers. You can't name them. So Bronny has a damn good chance to go to the league in the first round, second round, whatever. Like, he has a good chance to get picked up, you know, at a fairly good place and then make some sort of impact. Personally, I would prefer to go to a team where, if I'm in his situation, I would prefer to go to a team where I can learn as much as possible about the game, play under an elite coach, maybe an Eric Spoelstra. Obviously, Greg Popovich would be crazy. Steve Kerr. I want to play under a great coach to learn the game and adjust to the speed as easy as possible. But for everybody, it's like, oh no, Bronny's not going to do good. He's not going to have it down pat. He's not going to be able to adjust. He's trash. Come on, man. That's just silly talk right there. And you got to remember, man, the guy got some game, bro. Even if you just look at the combine stuff of what he's been doing, making shots, making threes, I personally think it was a little bit lucky that he was shooting so well. But he could at least be a 3-and-D corner man or something. Like, you got to get a man some sort of credit. Anyway, look, man, hey, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. If you got something on your chest or you just want to share it with us, or maybe you just got a question about anything, go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play it back on our next episode. Let me hear who you have winning this series between the Pacers and the Celtics, or maybe it's the Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks. Who you got winning that? I will touch on that in just a second, but we're going to take a quick break. It's halftime. We'll be right back. We're drinking water today. We're being healthy, getting some water up today. I've been trying to make sure I put a lot of emphasis on drinking water. And, I usually do pretty good with drinking water and stuff, but I've been trying to make sure I at least get like 3 bottles a day, 4 bottles a day. I don't know what that measures out to. I really don't keep track of it, but I've been trying to do that. And then also, too, another thing, man, I've been thinking about putting this segment, too, on YouTube. Usually, you always see the full video and all of that stuff on YouTube. You see the clips, all of the reels, the segments and broken down sections. All of that stuff is on YouTube, of course. But part of me was thinking about putting this section on YouTube because, this is a cool, calm. This is when I'm really just talking to y'all, man. I'm just chilling at this point. Actually, really quick before we jump into the news and stuff, I do have to tell you about something, man. Last week, it was over the weekend. It was that Friday. So I had just finished recording or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly when I recorded, but man, I went to go get an eye exam to see if I could do LASIK eye surgery. That was my thing. I'm like, okay, if I can do LASIK eye surgery, this would be dope. Like, I will actually be able to see. Like, this is a dream of mine because I'm tired of waking up having to put contacts in, if that's the case, or just rocking some glasses when I'm trying to work out, all of that stuff. Like, it get annoying, right? And for anybody who can't see out there, just know I feel your pain, bro. It's low-key tough. It's tough. So went to go get an eye exam, man, and it was crazy for LASIK. I don't think I could ever do LASIK because, long story short, not gonna keep y'all too long, they had to numb my eye in the eye exam. Both of my eyes, they numbed both of my eyes in the eye exam. My vision was blurry for a little bit. It felt weird as hell. And then after they numbed my eye with some eye drops, this lady who was the doctor or whatever, I don't know her position, who cares, whatever. But she came over after my eyes were numb and then took this highlighter ass figure and was drawing on my eyeball. Oh my gosh, it was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced, bro. I was like panicking in my chest because I'm like, bro, she's literally about to take my eye out. That's how it felt. It felt like she was literally gonna take my eye out. It was weird as hell. But literally, like, I don't know what she was doing, whether it was like taking a temperature, measuring something within my eye, seeing the sensitivity, I don't know. But my eyes were numb and I'm literally watching her poke my eye with this highlighter type of figure. It was the weirdest feeling ever. It was the weirdest experience ever. It felt like on TV if somebody took the camera and just started writing on the screen. But it was closer and closer. It was weird, man. So, I'm still recovering from that, man. I'm recording this podcast blind. I'm looking at my notes, struggling. All of that. I'm looking at the camera, struggling. I'm looking at this blind. But look, hey, that's enough. I'm gonna get to the news. I'm gonna get back to the topic because this is why we're here above all. This is what we're doing. Anyway, let's jump into some news because that's what we're all here for in the first place, right? All right, man, let's get into it. News for the run. Let's keep going with the NBA. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they're making some changes. Head coach J.B. Bickerstaff was fired after coaching 2 seasons with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Detroit Pistons, they found themselves the new president of basketball operations. Former Pelicans GM will now take over the front office in Detroit. Now that playoff picture, we're only left with 4 teams here, and they're battling it out right now, man. Now, so far, we only seen 1 game from each section on the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. The Celtics, they currently lead the Pacers 1-0, and that game 2 is happening as I speak. Game 2 for the Dallas Mavericks and Timberwolves will happen on Friday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and the Mavericks, they currently lead that series 1-0. And man, this is cool because we get basketball literally every day up until, I want to say, June 7th. These games are happening day after day, back to back to back to back. So it's going to be cool to, be able to keep an eye out on each game and each series. It's going to go by fast. So I don't know how often or how quick you listen to the episodes as soon as they release, but I'm gonna just let you know right now. We gonna know real soon if these takes age like milk or not. I'm gonna put it like that. Anyway, look, man, the Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks series, this is gonna be a great series. This is a 7-game series here. I'm excited about this. I get to watch 2 of my favorite players play the game that I love, Kyrie Irving, and then now Anthony Edwards, who's emerged as my new favorite. And, it kills me to say this, but the Dallas Mavericks are going to win this series in 7 games. The Dallas Mavericks will win this series in 7 games. I personally believe the Timberwolves have a better team, but the Dallas Mavericks will win this series in 7 games. All around, the Timberwolves, they should beat the Dallas Mavericks. But in fact, the Dallas Mavericks, bro, they got the best 1-2 punch in the playoffs and arguably the best 1-2 punch in the NBA that we've seen all season. Now, I told y'all way early on that Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving are a reincarnated version of LeBron James and Kyrie Irving in Cleveland. There's a lot of similarities between Luka Doncic and Kyrie and Bron James and Kyrie Irving. There's so many different similarities. When we look at how great that duo was in Cleveland with LeBron and Kyrie, it was mainly because Kyrie could play off ball and you had a dominant facilitator in LeBron James. What do we see over in Dallas right now? A Kyrie Irving who's playing off the ball and a Luka Doncic who loves distributing the ball and can find other people. Obviously, the defense of Luka Doncic isn't on the same level as LeBron. But what Kyrie can do with the distributor who understands the game at a high level like Luka Doncic is insane. And that's what we've been seeing all playoff series. Not just this series between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks, but we've seen that last series with the Dallas Mavericks and in the first round with the Dallas Mavericks as well. This team is equipped. They're equipped with high IQ. And that's ultimately what's going to set them apart when they're playing against the Timberwolves. You always hear playoff experience is going to make a difference. And this is what they mean, because although the Dallas Mavericks aren't the better team in this matchup against the Timberwolves are all around put together a little bit better than the Dallas Mavericks. This is where the IQ and the playoff experience comes in, because these guys are able to keep poise all through the game, and they understand that they have to really limit their mistakes in order to close games out, and they have to really limit mistakes in order to close games and win ball games game after game in this series. Take it one step at a time. Just the simple things that are forgotten when it's a high intense point in the game or a high intensity type of run going on in the game. It's the simple things sometimes. And because Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving both already have such a high IQ leading the Dallas Mavericks, they're able to help out the corner boys and Derrick Jones Jr. All of those guys, like, man, it's PJ Washington, able to help them out, help them understand what needs to be done in order to win the game. And that's what we've seen really in game 1. And I think we're going to see that amongst the series in total. Like, I don't think the Wolves are, going to lay down at all. I am expecting the Wolves to, push back and fight back and make some adjustments, because one of the main things we've seen too, the Timberwolves, y'all heard me talk about Rudy Gobert. I told y'all, fluke defensive player, fluke 3-time defensive player of the year. The man needs his awards checked because he's been getting cooked in the pick and roll. He was getting cooked in the pick and roll, and that seemed to be the bread and butter for the Dallas Mavericks, putting Rudy Gobert in the pick and roll. Kyrie Irving putting Rudy Gobert in the pick and roll. Luka Doncic putting Rudy Gobert in the pick and roll, forcing him to choose whether to take the ball, the ball handler, or the roll man. And clearly Rudy Gobert ain't understand what the hell he had to do, because anytime he was going to commit to Luka on taking the ball handler or commit to Kyrie or whoever was the ball handler after a pick and roll, the man was still stuck in between of, do I commit or do I not? He just couldn't make up his mind. And it resulted in a bucket every single time for the Dallas Mavericks. So that's one key area that the Minnesota Timberwolves really have to fix. Other than that, though, I think they'll make some adjustments. I would love to see the Timberwolves go on and win, but the Dallas Mavericks, boy, them some bad boys. Them some bad boys, man. And that's a tough duo to overcome. That's a tough duo to stop. Meaning, especially when they play defense like they did in the first game and like they've been doing in the playoffs. That's a tough team to beat, man. That's a tough team to beat. Anyway, look, I think either way it goes, above all, bro, you're going to see either the Dallas Mavericks or the Minnesota Timberwolves holding up the trophy at the end of the season, man. Either one of them teams is going to win the finals, whether it's the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Dallas Mavericks. Whoever wins this series out of the West, is 1,000% winning the NBA Finals. No matter if it's the Wolves or the Mavs. Either way, that's how it's going. But look, man, hey, that's all I got for y'all. I'm going to leave y'all with this positive note, man. I'm going to just sit here and tell you to run your own race. Don't worry about what everybody else got going on, man. Don't worry about what I got going on. Don't worry about what your cousin got going on, with people on Instagram, your old friends. Don't worry about what they got going on. Run your own race. Because when one door closes, another door opens. So yeah, stuff may look all pretty for somebody else on social media, or it may just be their time right now where they're seeing a lot of different things and they're seeing a lot of success or a lot of light being shined on them. And that's okay. But just know, there was probably multiple doors in front of them that closed before the light started shining on them and the other door opened. So keep that in mind, man, and just, you know, when things get tough, one door closes and another door opens. So that's just how it goes. Run your own race. Don't be focused on nobody else, man. Just be at peace with yourself and just remind yourself that, you know, wherever you are on your journey, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Anything sustainable takes time to develop. So you're exactly where you're supposed to be. All right, look, man. Hey, that's all I got for y'all, man. Go ahead, share this with a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a coworker, a neighbor, anyone you know who may enjoy sports, especially if they've been watching the playoffs. You definitely got to send this to them just to let them know and just say, hey, bro, check this out. I listened to it. You know, I thought it was a good episode, whatever. Or maybe if you didn't think it was a good episode, shoot me a call and let me know. 219-413-9405. And last thing, man, hey, go ahead and use SeatGeek. Get $20 off of your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. This code can only be applied for first-time users only. So if you're about to be like me and create an account to go to one of these games, go ahead, do your thing, man. But definitely get on SeatGeek. It's time to start using SeatGeek and go to some events, bro. Get this $20 off. All right, man. Look, that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate you tuning in, and of course, enjoy your weekend. It's the weekend. Oh shoot! I'm trying to stop cussing. It's the weekend. Damn. Hey, man, y'all better enjoy this weekend. Enjoy it. Have a great weekend, man. Genuinely make sure you have a good weekend. Just think positive, look for positive things that's happened throughout your day, and be grateful for the simple things that's been happening to you and throughout your day, and that's gonna continue happening for you, man. All right, I'm done. I've overstayed my welcome. I'm out of here, man. Look, I'll see y'all later on next week. Have fun watching the playoffs, and we'll be back later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.